Welcome to Faith and Freedom. For the next few minutes, we hope to inform, inspire, and encourage you as we discuss legal victories and challenges to your fundamental freedom and religious liberties. Faith and Freedom comes to you from Liberty Counsel, a civil liberties education and legal defense organization. Join us now as Matt Staver, founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel, explains the latest legal issues all across this country. In the courtrooms of America, Liberty Counsel is winning the battle for your constitutional freedom.
It's a sad day for the Boy Scouts of America. Indeed, it's a sad day for America. Hi, I'm Matt Barber, Vice President of Liberty Counsel Action. Joining me in studio today is Cynthia Dunbar, Special Counsel with Liberty Counsel. Cynthia, Scripture says, what good is it for someone to gain the whole world yet forfeit their soul? That's Mark 8:36. Well, a couple weeks ago at least, approximately 1,400 adult Boy Scout delegates from around the country gathered in Texas and decided in a disgracefully lopsided vote, about 60% of them voted to welcome into its ranks, quote, open and avowed homosexuality, that's boy-on-boy sexual attraction and behavior, thereby disavowing its long-standing, quote, morally straight Scout oath that its members are sworn to uphold. So now the Boy Scouts has thrown away 103 years of history and has become something that it has never been before.
Not only 103 years of history, but basically its entire mission as to why it was established in promoting morality and citizenship and that. And so what we see here is that they made a decision capriciously that was counter to the desires of the Boy Scout members and the parents. And 2-1, the polls showed that they did not support this particular action that was taken by the delegates.
Yeah, well over 60%, or actually 70% of organizations sponsoring the Boy Scout groups belong to churches around the country. Now, some of them, the Mormons, for instance, and I think the Methodists signed off on this, what I'm calling the homosexualization of the Boy Scouts, because that's what it is.
Right.
They've taken from the purview of the parent teaching their children about sex and sexuality, and certainly Christian parents, the vast majority of those involved in Boy Scouts who hold what every major world religion, thousands of years of history, and uncompromising human biology have always held, that
Right.
homosexuality is immoral. They've cast that by the wayside, and the Boy Scouts have said, forget you parents, forget you Boy Scouts, we're putting our stamp of approval on sexual immorality. They no longer have the credibility. They are hypocrites if they keep in place their mission statement and their oath, aren't they?
Well, absolutely. And they're already hypocrites because their mission statement is counter to this particular vote that they've taken. And what's interesting is we see this push all the time. You know, my interest in education and parental rights, there is this staunch push to take away control from the parents' ability to govern the direction of their children. And so now we not only have this taking place by the government, we have it by private organizations such as the Boy Scouts. And what's really disconcerting is, as you mentioned, that there's 70% of these charters are through religious organizations, and the two largest being Mormons and Methodists, but that they actually led the way in this charge of removing this ban is just proof of the secularization of the Church of Christ.
Well, they have effectively, the Boy Scouts of America have committed a gay activist suicide here. We saw what happened when Canada, their version of the Boy Scouts, homosexualized their Boy Scouts. Within 5 years, they plummeted in membership by over half. Their numbers continued to go down. Camps had to close. Employees were laid off. We can expect the same thing to happen to the Boy Scouts. I think because we're not as, quote, progressive as Canada yet as a nation, I think that we'll see the Boy Scouts have just completely crumble at this point over a period of time.
Well, absolutely. When you see the data showing the number of parents and scouts involved in it, how they disapproved of this particular action, I think that it will implode. I think that it will crumble. I think that the numbers will go so drastically down. It'll be a mass exodus, and the Boy Scouts will be left holding an empty bag. But actually, that really needs to be what transpires here, instead of allowing the parents allowing their children to be subject to this type of indoctrination that is not aligning with the biblical worldview and ideology that the Boy Scouts have historically upheld.
Well, the Boy Scout leadership here really thumbed its nose at parents, with the numbers clearly not even close in favor of maintaining the moral code within the Boy Scouts to cast it aside. Three things drove this, though, really. It was, first of all, just tremendous homosexual activist pressure that came to bear. So fear and certainly, the root of all evil, money, the love for money. A number of top corporate donors threatened to pull their funding of the Boy Scouts. And so fear, the love of money, and ultimately politics. They said, forget what's in the best interest of scouting and of the Boy Scouts. We're going to make a completely political and economic calculation here in calculus, and that's what really drove this, don't you think?
I absolutely agree, and I would add one more factor to that, and that is just ignorance in the true sense of the word. I mean, when you think about what Bill O'Reilly's statement was about that the homosexuals have the logical argument in terms of equality, in order to say that, you have to have this thought process that it is an equality issue, and it's not in any respects. It's not synonymous with the civil rights movement, and you clearly don't have an understanding of the biblical position that it is not being discriminatory. It is actually being loving, and it's dealing with conduct that is deemed to be unhealthy. And so there's tremendous ignorance and misrepresentation of the issue involved here as well.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's the cultural, the political, the socio-political implication here. They couch it in the homosexual activists and the leftists are very clever in how they couch this as an equality issue or
Right.
about so-called gay rights. But there have always been in the Boy Scouts, in the ranks of the Boy Scouts, young boys who struggle with their sexuality, who are going
Right.
through hormonal changes, who may have be sexually confused and have sexual attractions to other boys. That's
Right.
always been the case, and certainly that would still be the case if there were kids aren't going to be denied because they may have struggle with same-sex attraction or even have same-sex attraction. The reality is this is about open and avowed homosexuality. So these are kids that identify define their identity based upon these aberrant sexual attractions, saying, oh, not only is it okay that you have those attractions, we join with you in affirming that is normal and natural and good. And as an institution, and thereby by extension, all of our other Boy Scouts and members have to also affirm those aberrant sexual behaviors as good, natural, and normal. So that's what it's about. It's not about discriminating. It's about affirming something that the Boy Scouts have never heretofore affirmed, and that is sexual immorality.
Right, and it goes beyond the level of just being neutral on the issue. It goes to actively affirming a position. This is right in the playbook of behind the ball as far as the moving the
After the
homosexual after the ball,
Yeah.
moving the homosexual agenda forward, and you go from being neutral or accepting to actively affirming this lifestyle, and this is what we've seen like within the DOJ
Yeah.
and other areas within society now, where you really cannot have any opinion. This is viewpoint discrimination in its purest form. There is only one viewpoint that is acceptable, and that is the viewpoint that homosexual behavior is normal and healthy and must be accepted by everyone within the United States of America.
Well, quickly, we've seen what this has done, the lifting of Don't Ask, Don't Tell to the military. Homosexual sexual assaults now outnumber heterosexual sexual assaults within the ranks of the military. We can expect the same thing in the Boy Scouts.
Absolutely. And I'm going to rename that book because I messed it up, but From Behind the Ball to After the Ball. Really what it is Hide the Ball.
Yeah.
This is the big spoof on America of how we're going to sway your mindset. It's the same type of thing that was done in pre-Holocaust Germany as far as propaganda and presentation and swaying the whole mindset of a nation.
Well, parents, I hate to say it, you might want to get out while the getting's good with from the Boy Scouts of America, because it is a matter of time. I think in a matter of months, the Boy Scouts will capitulate and allow also men who identify their identity by being sexually attracted to other men, having them as scoutmasters. They will open the ranks. They will have to. They have now abandoned their only defense they have, the only legal defense, and that is a conscience objection to homosexuality within the ranks of the Boy Scouts. Now they've waived that, so they will have to open the floodgates for both homosexual scoutmasters and, yes, girls who think their boys, transgendered so-called boys within the Boy Scouts as well. The Boy Scouts has committed homosexual activist suicide. The good news is we're looking into alternatives, a new organization or organizations to replace, for parents to replace the Boy Scouts. Go to lc.org for updates on this issue and other issues, or give us a call, 1-800-671-1776.
You have been listening to Faith and Freedom with Liberty Counsel. We hope that we have motivated you to stand up for your faith, family, and freedom. We can accomplish a lot when we work together. Get informed and get involved today. Sign up for our free monthly newsletter, The Liberator. We will send it out to you free of charge. Stay informed with our Liberty Alert email updates. Just click on the website at www.lc.org or call us at 1-800-671-1776. Tune in next time to learn more about your rights right here on Faith and Freedom.